Hello, everybody. How are you going? Well, I want to ask you, if your teacher's a really good teacher, do you ever think whether or not they're actually qualified to be doing what they're doing? This is something that happened in Victoria, where I live, Victoria, my state. And there was a man that stole his father's teaching registration in the 1970s and was teaching until 2000. And it was discovered that he wasn't actually really a teacher. So let's look at what happened. He's just been sentenced, and let's have a look at what the details behind that is and see what's happened. So this is Lennie. And Lennie is now 72 years old. And between 1976 and the year 2000, he was teaching. He earned almost $850,000 in that time. Quite interestingly enough, he became a headmaster of many of the prestigious schools in Victoria. And Caulfield, Haileybury and Overton Anglican School, he was given a community correction order and 3 months of jail. And that was a suspended sentence. He did plead guilty of 4 counts of fraud. And he was also teaching at the prestigious Caulfield Grammar School and Mount Scopus College. And he had a fake resume. Now, interestingly enough, she said the Judge Riddle, said that she could find no loss to any of the schools or students to the results of fraud. Now, there were many students that spoke out in his favour. So there's a Doherty Institute professor, Sharon Lewin, AO, said that he was one of the most outstanding teachers she'd ever met. And the judge said, ironically, it was likely your excellent performance which made that lie very difficult to untell and the web spun difficult to untangle. The schools all stated they would have never have employed him if they knew the qualifications. And of course, the schools did not conduct background checks. And the other thing that was very interesting is that he began teaching when he was 16 years old, despite not graduating high school until a year later. That's what his resume said. He enrolled over several university courses over a number of decades, but they couldn't find any that he completed. Nobody can work out why he did it. But it's a very, very interesting case indeed. In a letter, it all become unravelled in a letter to The Age in 2019. He jumped to the defence of those teaching outside their areas of specialty. And he wrote that teachers can easily master content to up to year 10 and even higher. If they are quality teachers with a passion for the subject, these teachers can become equally effective in field specialists. So he never completed year 12. He dropped out of every single institution that he enrolled in. However, he seemed to be a really amazing teacher. So other students that wrote in his defence were a neurologist, a dentist, a doctor, an engineer, and they all said that he was an outstanding educator who found creative ways to teach. Also, actor and director Pip Mushin, best role for his role as cameraman in Stewie in Frontline, had said that he remembered him stepping in to oversee rehearsals for the school play. It was the first time I had an insight into an actor's technique, and as an impressionable young actor, I remember this day how it inspired us. So he inspired lots of people. He directed many musicals for the Sandringham Light Opera Company, played piano sang at various music venues, umpired VFL games in regional Victoria, and he was the headmaster of Caulfield Grammar School, all without a qualification. It's very, very interesting. So what the judge has said is that they're coming back to look at pecuniary orders. He's going to have to pay back that money by the looks of it. So there'll be some type of, sounds like he's going to get a fine. So he's going to get a community order. But his 3-month jail sentence, that's been suspended. The judge also disagreed with the prosecution, who stated that he was motivated by greed. And the judge said she doubted that. It was probably his desire to help people. She couldn't see why becoming, if you were going to go for greed, why you would choose teaching. The judge says, I believe you're motivated by your desire to teach, and it's as simple as that. So there was no loss found to any schools or students as a result of the fraud. Everybody, so, it's quite bizarre that it sounds like that he actually inspired people to be their best self rather than cause any harm or damage. Yes, he falsified his credentials and he's going to have to deal with that. It's just really strange that some of the people in the top of the field have come out and been character witnesses for him. So what do you reckon? What do you think? Should he have got 3 months jail suspended? Should he be in jail? Should he get a fine? What do you think should happen to Mr. Lennie? Bearing in mind he's 72 now. He's 72. And it was only, they only found out because there was a random order on teachers' registrations, and that's how he was found out. So he was caught out while working as the principal of Melbourne Senior Secondary College. So they investigated 23 registrations in 2019-2020. Most cases involved teachers working before registrations approved or before registrations changed. So he looks like he got through in a little gap where registrations were changing. He told the Watchdog that he retired as school principal in 2008, but he'd been employed from 2002 to 2014. So he was found out in 2014 and then charged. So there we have it. But tell me what you think in the comments below, and I will find you some more fun facts, more fun things. But what do you think should be done with Mr. Lennie, hey? Quite fascinating. All right, well, you have a good one.